we're on to UKIP. Does it have a future?
It's up to UKIP, isn't it, really?
They appear to be particularly fixating on Islam and the risk, as they see it, of Islamic extremists. Is that the right strategy? It's not what you did.
No, I think if you're worried, concerned about the growth of Islamic extremism, if you're conscious that we've rather turned a blind eye in this country to some of the horrible things that have gone on that should have been gripped and dealt with earlier, I think that's fine. I think if a political party starts to become fixated on Islam as a religion,
which some people would say is
as opposed to
UKIP,
extreme radical jihad, then they are two different things. And if UKIP goes down the path of choosing to be an anti-Islamic political
or an anti-Muslim party,
well,
you would sever all your links with it.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, either you believe in religious tolerance and freedom, or you don't.
And I'm asking you would think if they did that, you would not be able to associate.
Well, I hope they won't make that mistake.
Right. Okay, but I'm just sorry to press you on it. But if they were to be seen as that, you could not be associated.
Let's hope. I very much hope that common sense prevails. It's really interesting. What I did as leader of UKIP was I took on a couple of areas that were not allowed for debate in polite society. I think we should leave the European Union. Well, he wouldn't get a second dinner invite. No, but really, because it was mad and bad to even suggest it. And of course, immigration had been a very difficult argument in this country ever since 1968. Ever since Powell's Rivers of Blood speech, even discussing immigration was a very difficult thing to do. And what I tried to do with UKIP, and tried my damnedest to do with UKIP, was to make sure that we did not have extremists within the organisation. I banned anybody who'd ever been a BNP member from even joining the party. I tried to make sure that we could make the arguments, but without being tainted with the extremes. And I would advise UKIP, do not become a party that campaigns on religion, and do not become a party that gives a backdoor in to some very extreme elements. It just won't work.
Tommy Robinson, he's been jailed for contempt of court. Hundreds of thousands, I looked yesterday, more than 600,000 people have now signed a petition calling for his release. What does that tell us about this country?
It tells us that people are getting quite scared. They're getting scared of what's happening in many of their communities. They're getting scared about division. And their lives are being fundamentally changed by bad government policy, by state-sponsored multiculturalism, and people are scared about it. And all they say, and I've spoken to them. I've spoken to them. All they see Tommy Robinson, a working-class lad, standing up and telling the truth, being put in prison for it. What they don't see is the legal side of it.
I mean, you, as you say, were very clear that you did not want UKIP to be seen as a racist or extremist party.
I didn't just want it not to be seen as one, I didn't want it to be one.
Sure, no, absolutely. But are you worried that we are seeing the rise of racism and extremism?
I'm worried that unless we listen to what the voters said in the Brexit referendum, namely that controlling our borders and actually caring about our culture and our identity, unless British governments start to put that very much higher up the agenda, then what comes politically after me, Westminster will find a bigger shock than I was.
The former UKIP leader thinks this is an unnecessary distraction for the party.
My concern with all of these groups is that argument spills over into actually being an enemy of an entire religion, and that is not the place we need to be, for every reason. It's the wrong thing to do, and it won't work anyway.
Do you fear that that's what Gerard Batten is falling down that track?
Well, I don't think he's there yet, but I think he's got to be careful what company he keeps.